What's cracking, guys? Bruce Matson here, your host show of Metric Scout Fantasy Football. We're now into September. NFL season's almost here, and now we're in the peak of our drafts for redraft season. We got the holiday weekend coming up, and we're going to do a final set of running back rankings, but this time we're going to do the good old tier list. That way we got the visual, and plus, when it comes to tiers, my brain works better like that anyways. I like them better in pockets, and when I'm in different drafts, I switch things up a lot. So my brain works better putting these guys in tiers than going one for one in rankings. You may think I don't like a guy if I got him at 12, but really I like him just as much as the guy at 6. So that's just how it works for me, because I like to switch on and off depending on my drafts, and I like to diverse from assets. But let's take a look at these running back tiers here. We're going to be looking at the top 25 running backs today. And I'm excited. This is my first time doing this on the channel. I've seen some other people do this. This is very popular on YouTube for all categories, all walks of life. So I'm excited to dig into this. So tier goes from top to the bottom, the best at the top, the least at the bottom. But let's get this thing started. As my top dog in the top tier, I got Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor, I've been high on him from his days at Wisconsin. And I'm going to be high on him until he's out of the league. Size adjusted speed for days. Get some work out of the passing game. Burst. Carries. He gets you everything. Super safe. No injury history yet. So it's good. My second running back, and there's only 2 running backs in this tier. You can already guess it because we know the flow. We know the flow of fantasy football right now. And it's Christian McCaffrey. Injuries are an issue. They are. They just are. You just can't say Christian McCaffrey without talking about the injuries. But when he's healthy, you're talking about almost or at 30 points per game PPR. You cannot ignore that. You can't ignore the upside. Now we're going to tier 2, tier A. I don't know what the A, B, C, D, G means and an S at the top. I don't know what that means. But you let me know in the comments. Help me out. I'm new to this. I'm not trying to be a boomer or anything, but I'm new to this. But tier 2 here is huge. Tier 2's got my dudes. And it's a fun tier because really, it's where everybody's at with these running backs. This is where the conflict really comes up. And going into these rankings, at this tier, I like all these guys damn near the same, and they all have like these little issues in their game where people are kind of set back by. The first one I got here for tier 2 is Saquon Barkley. Injuries, a bad New York Giants offense over the years. A lot of people questioning him, but the talent's there. He's an elite level talent. He's damn good running back prospect coming out of Penn State. We're not just living off that collegiate profile. He's had some good seasons, but injuries have been hell on him. However, that upside's grand. Upside's very grand. As long as he's healthy getting touches, we got ourselves an RB1. Next one is Austin Eckler. And really, out of all these guys in this list, he has the least flaws, and he's in the best offense probably because he's going to get the work. There's nothing really you can harp on him about. He's had some injuries over the past, but he's been through them, and they're so far in the rearview mirror that they don't really matter too much. But I have him here in tier 2. Mainly upside is up there with all these other guys as well. But he does have top tier upside. Out of all these guys in this tier, I could put him up in tier S, whatever that means. 3 here in this tier, Joe Mixon. I see a lot of other people are lower on Joe Mixon, and there are a few that are higher on Joe Mixon. What I like about him is he gets touches, he gets work in the passing game, and he's in one of the best offenses in the league. That's what I'm chasing for in these fantasy leagues, especially in PPR. Running backs who are getting work in the passing game and that are in good offenses. If you're going 3 downs and outs, what's the point? I want you to continue to get work. Mixon's going to be in there. The injury history's kind of in the rear view. We had a good season last year. There's no reason for me to have him down in the rankings. Now we're going to go with Dalvin Cook. Offense should be injected with more passing in it. Sounds like he's going to get more use in the passing game. Dude's been productive throughout his career. The only bugaboo, and we all know the bugaboo, is the injury history, and you can't ignore that. Now the next one in this tier, Tier A, Najee Harris. And a lot of people think I'm down on Najee Harris. I like him for what he is. He's going to get a lot of volume. He's going to get some work in the passing game. How much work in the passing game is going to be very interesting. New quarterbacks at play here, and I imagine we're going to see a few quarterbacks throughout the season. Trubisky coming in there. I am having questions with his offense, as with everybody else. That's why he's not in Tier S, and it's very hard to get into Tier S. You pretty much got to make people's jaw drop with the numbers. But Najee Harris is in a good position, considering this is his second year, considering its volume, work in the passing game, has the potential to give his RB1 weeks. But like the other running backs, there are some things you can chip away at here, but they're not like things that will cripple him either. Next here, one of my favorite running backs, and he's good in the passing game, very explosive. And if you're looking for a running back to come out of nowhere that you can get in the second round, late first round, that could really make a huge impact, it's DeAndre Swift. I wouldn't be surprised, which nobody should be if they really look at last year's numbers and on a per-game basis, that he leads the running backs in routes ran and targets this year. If he plays a full 16-17, he will be one of the most lucrative running backs in all of fantasy football due to his work in the passing game. PPR leagues, he is a must-get. As long as he's healthy, you got to chase DeAndre Swift. And I love the value, because if anybody in this league at the running back position can make a push out of nowhere, kind of out of nowhere, it's not out of nowhere for me, maybe not for some of you, to Jonathan Taylor and Christian McCaffrey, is DeAndre Swift. And he's got some Christian McCaffrey-like tendencies, not comparison, in his game. The next one has some DeAndre Swift tendencies and has done it before and has had some big games, but we do have some questions like everybody else. Alvin Kamara. The questions are with the offense. It's not getting any younger. Michael Thomas has been banged up. Jameis Winston's there. I like Jameis Winston for fantasy, not for real football, but he can sling the rock. Alvin Kamara is that dude who's been holding on for a long time, gets work in the passing game. He's explosive. There's questions with the offense, like with everything else, but I'm not going to bump him to Tier B. And if anything, a long time ago, he was in Tier S. Tier A, nice and conservative, and I think people are getting him at a good price point. I really like him and DeAndre Swift, and the closer we get to the season, the more I like Alvin Kamara. Last one for this tier right now, I'm going to go with Derrick Henry. And honestly, I think the Titans are going to ride him till the wheels fall off, and they should. Big-time talent. Big-time talent. If he can hold up throughout the season, you're talking huge numbers. RB1 every single week because he's getting that volume, and he has the size-adjusted speed to get it done. And you can never know when he's going to just blast through with a long touchdown run, and that makes him dangerous from week to week. And then there's some weeks where he has like 2 or 3. He had that one game last year where he just completely blew up on prime time. All right, now it's time to go to Tier B, Tier number 3, whatever you want to call it. And to start things off, we're going to go with Aaron Jones. I love him with the Packers. I think he's a good discount in fantasy this year. I like him a lot. I would have him in Tier 1 if he didn't have the competition here with A.J. Dillon. And I feel like he's a damn good running back here for Tier B. I like Tier B. I think this is a good tier. I think Tier B and Tier A, very close with each other, but a little different. A little different. He can also give you boom weeks. He can also give you steady production. I like him a lot. My next running back here is Nick Chubb. I wouldn't be surprised if he leads the NFL in rushing. The big question here is this damn offense. Quarterback position. Are they going to be able to keep the chains moving? Is this team going to break on us? What's going to happen? Eventually, Deshaun Watson is going to be in the offense, but will that be too little too late? Will that be? Because fantasy is a sprint. You start off limping, and that's not going to be good. However, they may lean on the run more. There's not many running backs who gets it done between the tackles better than Nick Chubb. And also, he can do it in the passing game. They just have other backs that can get it done with them. Nick Chubb has upside, And I wouldn't be surprised if he does lead the league in rushing this year. The next running back I'm going here, upside play. The next two are going to be huge upside plays. This one, Javonte Williams. A lot of people are too scared to really bump him up with the top guys, and some other guys are being very conservative with them. I'm right in the middle here. I got him wedged here and with some of the top running backs who are getting good production, good volume. If you want to bump them up a little bit, go ahead. If you want to put a premium, if you want to stand back a little bit, go ahead. But we could see a running back here that has an insurgence here in year 2. Good yards after contact numbers. Catch the ball in the backfield, can get it done, can be a huge staple to your team. And we're also, at this point in the draft, we're at running backs that are getting more chips to their armor. And we're looking at a running back here that could ascend into tier A, into tier S here, because he has that kind of potential. Another running back here with this kind of potential and is very explosive, good in the passing game, is Travis Etienne. I like him a lot, and this is another upside play. When I say upside play, just in case I'm confusing you, is I'm paying up for a speculative asset, and going into this, I know there's a chance that I could be losing here, but I know that I can flirt with high-end tier A or tier S with this guy's potential, and I'm willing to pay for that. If you're not willing to pay for that, bump him down to tier C to tier D for you. Go ahead and do that. But I like to take a little risk, and I like to go for these guys when things start to get a little shaky, and I feel good right here. The next running back, he is a little safe, but there are some things I don't like in his profile, and it's Leonard Fournette. Started the offseason overweight, Fat Lenny, as we all know him as. He's an older running back, should be getting a ton of volume. He's in a good passing game as for now. Tom Brady looked like a skeleton the other day, so I don't know what that means for everybody else. That's not pegged into the ranking. I just came to my mind as I was talking. But Leonard Fournette here, I don't trust him for a full season, but I love the opportunity. I feel like this is a fair ranking for him, and I also have him in the back end of tier B because I also want to chase the upside of the other guys. When I look at these rankings here, or these tiers, remember these are tiers, I can move these guys up and down depending on how much Taco Bell I had in a day, but I feel like I want to move Nick Chubb up here to tier A. And the reason why is because when I was talking about him, I'm not surprised, or I wouldn't be surprised if he leads the league in rushing, which means he would have to be more productive than these guys, which means he has the upside to be around this area or up here. So I'm going to just bump him here in the back end. I am scared of the offense. I'm scared of that. But that could lead to more opportunities. And if that's going to lead to more opportunities, let's roll with it. Let's put him in the back end of the tier A here. It's not too far where he was at anyways. I feel like how I was talking about him probably should be there. Tier A is huge. Tier A is huge. It's in that round, mid-first, early second, mid-second. You're just getting your guys. And when I'm saying that, get your guys here. Just get your guys. Because that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be mixing and matching them. Tier A is what's there. Tier B is very important as well. It's not too far off from Tier A. But Tier C is very important. We're going to get into that right now. And here's where speculation comes into play. First off, here in the tier, I got Breece Hall. Upside rookie. When you're drafting this guy, you have to have the right mindset. If you're not patient, drop him down the D, F, or G. He may hit later in the season. He's an upside play, another speculative asset. Probably will start the year slow, but could just hit tier A or S like that. We've seen some rookies do that. It could be week 9, though. It could be week 11. It could be week 17. It could be next year. The potential's there. That's why he's high up there. And you know, just from listening to me over the years on this channel, I'll chase that upside, and I'm not afraid to risk on it. So if you're scared of the risk, I'm advocating you to bump him down a little bit in your personal ranks. Another guy here is A.J. Dillon. I love him a lot this year. I love him a lot. I feel like this team's going to focus a lot on the run game. I feel like he's going to have more usage in the passing game this year. He's going to get a lot of work between the tackles. Between him and Aaron Jones, there's just going to be a 1A and 1A. and that's what we've been hearing. I see like him taking ascension, good touchdown numbers. Something happens to Jones, you got a guy in tier B. You got a guy in tier B or tier A. If something happens to him, then Jones tier A. That's the reason why Jones is in tier B and not tier A, is because Dillon's so damn good, and I believe in him, and I believe in both these running backs, and they're just going to eat from each other, and it's all good. It's all good. I've had teams out there that have both of them. They both came at a value, and I was like, why not? Why not? And I'm very high on A.J. Dillon in this tier. If I'm excited about anybody from tier C to tier G, it's A.J. freaking Dillon. J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins, let's talk about him. I put out a video yesterday. Go check that. Go check that. It's him doing a drill. He was kind of limping. I don't know. You go check that. You take in that info for yourself and adjust your rankings. The injury's there, but that does not mean that he's going to be out for the year or out for a long time or in and out of the lineup. We just don't know. We just don't know. We can only speculate. He should be there for week 1 from what we're hearing. He may not. They don't have to give us the full info until it's time. So we just have to speculate. I'm not really bumping him down. I'm just going to have that in the back of my mind. I'm still getting him in some leagues. I still have him in some leagues. I'm not worried. I might diversify here and there, but I love the upside. I love what he can do in the passing game. I love his explosiveness. He's in a good offense for him. There are some other running backs there. There's that Kenyon Drake. Could be an indicator that they're scared, but I like J.K. Dobbins a lot this year, and this next running back is very important in all of fantasy football because everybody wants to know what tier he's in. For every single fantasy football guy who talks about fantasy football, everybody wants to know about him, and that is Dameon Pierce. And I'm very conservative here, and you can mix him with Breece Hall back and forth. You can mix him with J.K. Dobbins. For me, I need A.J. Dillon at the top of this tier. I need him at the top, and I need him flirting with tier B because he can be in tier B. He might as well be there for me, for my personal feelings. Pierce here has a chance to ascend to B or A. The volume's going to be there. I am bullish on the Houston Texans offense to a degree, and I think they're being slept on a little bit. I like Brandon Cooks. I like Nico Collins. The quarterback play is going to be decent there. It's not going to be like Joe Burrow-esque, but it's going to surprise some people a shade. They're going to be in more games. They are getting rid of running backs left and right. If anything, there's a chance automatically he's a tier B once we go. The speculation here, though, is everything else. How much are they going to rely on him in the run game? How high? I'm not saying I would take him over Breece Hall and J.K. Dobbins. I'm saying there's some diversification. I'm saying a lot of people are going to have him up here. There's no way I can probably take him over A.J. Dillon. I love A.J. Dillon. And there's a good chance he works his way up here to tier B. And there's a good chance the upside works him into tier A. If anything, if you might want to be really bullish, you can put him up here to ETN and Javonte Williams. And the reason why, he's a young rookie, and he's already in line for a lot of touches. He's going to take touches away from him. Say they even bring in Trey Sermon. He ain't taking touches away from him. It's too late in the game. It's September 1st. No running back they're going to bring in right now, unless they trade for a stud up here in like tier A or tier B here or whatever, is going to take from him. Maybe they get one of these old guys I'm going to be talking about here in a bit, but none of these guys are going to take for him. So you can really put him here, but conservative-wise, right there in tier C feels good to me, and that's probably how I'm going to play it. I'd rather have bought him when he was being ranked down here with people. That's when I was buying him, and I'm good with that. Now, up here, I'm a little scared. I got running backs here that I know what I'm getting out of, except for maybe Williams and ETN here. But Dameon Pierce, though, everybody wants to know about him. You can bump him here for you. You can bump around here for you. Here's probably where I got him at, right here or around here in this tier, but not ahead of A.J. Dillon. You mix and match them however you want. Next tier, I call this the old man tier, and we're going to start things off with James Conner. I'm not too high on him. Good touchdown numbers last year, but that could regress. Touchdowns regress. They're not sticky from year to year. anything can happen. I got him here in tier D. Also, I think the workload's going to be a lot for him, and that could indicate maybe a season where he's off and on with injuries. I don't want to pay up for that. That's why I'm at a tier D, and I'd rather have somebody like Pierce, someone like J.K. Dobbins, some of those upside guys over him because I want to chase that upside. He does have some upside. It's little. He had it last year, but we might have just saw it last year, and that might be it. And speaking of upside and questions and old and getting slower is Ezekiel Elliott. And the one thing Ezekiel Elliott's good at is getting touches. Touches equate to volume in fantasy. Touches can really help you out in fantasy, especially getting those points. And you can't sleep on them, but you can't overpay either because we've seen what we've seen on the field. I feel like tier D is very safe and conservative for him. Moving on to tier F. Tier F, we got these running backs who are younger, but we got some question marks with. Cam Akers coming back from injury, but looking explosive when he's healthy. Has the potential to work his way up to tier B and tier A. He's up there. If anything, he should be with tier D. But tier D is kind of like the old guy tier who gets touches. So really, tier D and tier F are kind of merged together, but they're kind of different categories if you want to look at it that way. If you want him ahead of those guys, go ahead. And I might draft him ahead of those guys. But I kind of got him tiered off here from the category of how these guys are kind of played like. Can give you high in RB2 weeks, RB1 weeks, give you steady production. Injuries are a thing with him. It was like that ever since Alabama. We have Zamir White breathing down his neck, Amir Abdullah, and things could be very interesting this season. They might be splitting up the workload by the end of the year, and they were acting funny with him in the preseason games. This is where a lot of people got him ranked. A lot of people got him valued this way in ADP. He also could be a slept-on asset, especially if you're going wide receiver early and you like to pull on the trigger at running back a little later. That might be one of your first running backs. Next guy is David Montgomery. I started the offseason kind of highish. Not high, but kind of like looking into him. I don't know how to explain it. I saw the touches last year, but really look into his case. New coaching staff, not married to him. Khalil Herbert looking all right. Could be a mix of touches here, a good diversification. I'm not into that. I'm not into offense being slower. I'd rather chase upside with the other picks. I'd rather have Jacobs. I'd rather have Akers. Jacobs is safest out of the bunch here. Akers has the most upside out of the bunch here. And then David Montgomery is David Montgomery. Montgomery is like a younger version of these guys to me. But these guys are kind of in better situations. These guys are guaranteed the touches as long as they're healthy. Their health is a concern, but it's really a concern with all these running backs. Moving on to the final tier here, tier G. We got two guys here. First one's my favorite handcuff in the whole league, and that's if anything happens to the starter, he might be up here in tier B, A, or S. He's going to be up there at least for a week or 2, 3 weeks or whatever, because the workload's going to be there. He gets work in the passing game. And that's Tony Pollard. Tier S might be a stretch for upside, but A and B is really not because he would get a bulk of the workload. He's being used more in the passing game, and they're going to be in more shootouts this year. And more work in the passing game, more work catching the ball in the backfield is only so good for PPR, and that could make him have a good couple weeks if he has to hold down the fort. Next one, I had to move him up a bit due to things that have happened. And everyone's speculating on him, but you do have to jock him up a little bit. And I think I'm at 26 running backs, 25. I'll give you an extra. It's Antonio Gibson. The things that happen to Brian Robinson getting shot and stuff, it's not fun. I don't like it, but you do have to be Bayesian to what's going on. Antonio Gibson catches the ball in the backfield, is explosive. He has the potential to be an A, B, or C. But with things that have happened this offseason, really makes you a little timid. I'm very conservative here. I can move him to tier F pretty easy, but I also don't know when Brian Robinson's going to be back, and I feel like this is going to be a mix with all the running backs. I'm very safe with him at this position, and I think this is a good tier to put him in for right now. Wouldn't be surprised if he give you a good start to the season, though. Could be a good value in your draft, but that's it for the tiers for the day or for the rest of the off season. Let me know where you got who in your tiers or ranks or whatever. Hope this helped you out for your drafts, your positioning going into the season. Make sure you smash that like button. Helps the video on the algorithm. Also hit that subscribe button because I'm going to be helping you out with your fantasy teams, Dynasty, Devy, and Redraft all season long. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next vid.